Hey, what's up everybody? Hammerheart Metal Reviews here once again. Today we're doing another edition in my series of underrated CDs from my collection. So this is, I think, volume 10 now in this series. Basically, I've been doing one edition in this series every month since the beginning of the year, just choosing 5 CDs from my collection that I feel are underrated, either the album being underrated in the scope of a band's discography or just the band is underrated in general. This will probably be the last edition in this for 2023 for this year. Like I said, been doing this about once a month. As I gear up into November and December, I'm mostly going to be thinking about year-end stuff. Still going to be some other videos along the way as well, but I think I'm going to be pausing on this series, at least for the rest of this year, but may pick it up again in 2024. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get into this. Talking about 5 CDs today. So to kick it off, I'm going with Nightbringer and their album Terra Damnata. So this is some black metal from the USA. This features one of the members from Emissaries, which if you're familiar with that band, you kind of get the gist of the style here. But this is a little bit different from Emissaries, where that maybe focuses more of like a terrifying, frightening black metal. This is more like symphonic, think like early Emperor, but still with some of those same elements that Emissaries has. Really unique overall, very awesome stuff here. I absolutely love this album. This is probably my favorite by the band. Just really killer stuff here. If you have not heard it and are into black metal at all, definitely go give these guys a listen, especially if anything I said sounds like it might be up your alley if you're into early Emperor or stuff in that vein. I don't want to say it's just a pure like influenced by Emperor and that's it, but I hear those elements in here, but they're putting their own spin on it, and yeah, just a really well done album. All right, to switch it up after that, let's go with some classic heavy metal. One of my favorite bands that I think is still severely underrated and does not get enough love, and that is Cirith Ungol. Here I got their debut album, Frost and Fire. And yeah, this one, compared to the rest of their discography, it's definitely not as doomy as the rest. This is just some classic heavy metal. Even got some like prog rock elements in here with some of the songs. They were kind of still finding their sound at this point. But wow, some of the songs on here just stand the test of time. Frost and Fire, I'm Alive, A Little Fire. The first 3 songs on this album just all kick so much ass. And really, this album as a whole is very solid. It's a shorter album. I mean, there's only 7 tracks. There's a bonus track on here as well. Of course, the gorgeous album art here, which all about Elric of Melnebone, the Michael Moorcock series, which is awesome. A lot of the lyrics are about that, but it's not every song is 100% about that. But all of their album covers are based with like the Michael Whelan paintings or illustrations for Michael Moorcock's books, which just add another level to it. Being a huge fantasy book nerd myself, when a band incorporates that kind of imagery into their lyrics and into their album art, it just dials it up a notch for me. Like I said, yeah, awesome band. If you haven't heard Cirith Ungol, go check them out. The vocalist is really the star of the show. Tim Baker is a one-of-a-kind vocalist. No one out there sounds like him. He's just got a banshee wail that is so unique and really adds this extra charm to this band. And yeah, top-notch stuff. This isn't my personal favorite album by them, but I think it might be their most underrated, being their debut, and that maybe they got more recognition for their follow-up like King of the Dead, One Foot in Hell. But yeah, Frost and Fire, awesome stuff here. All right, up next, let's switch to some death metal with Vital Remains and their album Dechristianize. So this was the first album that saw Glenn Benton join the band, of course from Deicide, joined the band on lead vocals. You had longtime founding member Tony Lazzaro on guitar, and then also bringing in David Suzuki on lead guitar and drums. David Suzuki was on the previous album as well. But wow, like his playing here just adds this technical flair and this melodic, like neoclassical solos that would maybe sound out of place on some death metal albums, but they really make it work here. It's still got the brutal death metal edge, but then bringing in such technical neoclassical guitar playing, and it's just a match made in heaven. And then you throw Glenn Benton's classic vocals on top. amazing stuff. If you have not heard this album, you got to go check it out. The guitar riffs and solos will blow your fucking mind. And then, yeah, just the crushing vocals, the 2 layers, the low vocals, the high vocals, just like Benton does in Deicide. And it's just awesome stuff. Very satanic themed death metal, but really great stuff. Super enjoyable album. All in all, this is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Vital Remains album. And I feel like this band kind of goes a little bit under the radar, even though it featured Glenn Benton, still doesn't necessarily get the notoriety that some other death metal bands do. And a few of their albums are really top notch. Definitely go check them out if you have not. Now for something completely different, you might laugh at me for this one, but I am going to go with some glam metal with Skid Row and their second album, Slave to the Grind. So yeah, overall, I don't listen to a ton of like hair metal, glam metal, but Skid Row is one of the exceptions to me. They always stood out as being a little bit heavier than maybe the more mainstream stuff. This being their sophomore album, I chose this because like Skid Row as a whole, obviously not an underrated band, but compared to like their debut that had all their major hits, like if someone doesn't really know Skid Row, you probably still know songs off their debut album. But here on their sophomore album, this album actually goes pretty hard. It's pretty heavy. More like heavier than most other like hair metal or bands that get grouped in as hair metal. And like bang for my buck, this album might even be better than the debut. It's just full of great songs, and you got heavy tracks like the title track, Slave to the Grind. Get the Fuck Out is just hilarious. But then you've even got great ballads like Wasted Time. Like all in all, say what you will about this style of music. Yeah, it's not my favorite necessarily overall, but Sebastian Bach's vocals on this album kick so much ass. Like he's got a voice here, and yeah, one of the best vocalists in this style for sure, and definitely not a band to skip, even though I know the genre gets some hate, and deservedly so, but I like Skid Row, and I like that album. One more for today. I'm gonna go with Melakesh and their album Emissaries. So if you're not familiar with this band, they are from Jerusalem originally, which you don't know too many black metal bands from Jerusalem, but yeah, they recorded their first album there, left the country, and featured Prescriptor McGovern on a couple albums on drums. He's not on this album. He does some guest vocals on one track. But yeah, the main dude, Melechesh Alkmedi, behind the band, just does such interesting guitar riffs. Like, the best comparison I would say is a style like Absu with like the thrashy black metal, but really brings in these unique Middle Eastern tinges to it and folkiness. And it just makes for such an engaging, enjoyable listen. This is one of my favorite albums by them for sure. Awesome stuff here. Lyrical themes, all like Middle Eastern and I don't even know the words I'm looking for here, like Sumerian lore, stuff like that. But yeah, just amazing stuff here. Really dig the album art and just everything about this. You got all the Middle Eastern elements going on, and these riffs will just stick in your head for days. It's really aggressive, fast-paced black metal, but with such interesting and intricate guitar parts that it really adds a different element to it to make it stand out from the crowd. Honestly, it's super underrated band. They need more love. If you've never heard Melakesh, go check out all their albums. But yeah, check out this one as well. So yeah, that's it for today. That's 5 albums. Like I said, probably the last edition I'm doing in this for the year, but you can probably look forward to some more of this next year. And until next time, Hammerheart Metal Reviews out.